Although some of us are busier like never before, do you still get those calls from customers not really knowing what powder coating is, just knowing that they need it? Do you find it hard to promote your business when no one seems to know what you do? You're not alone. Today, the rubber meets the road when our guest Kevin Coursin, the Executive Director of the Powder Coating Institute, joins us. We'll cut some inroads as to why the industry seems to suffer from a lack of good PR and what can be done about it. We'll go off the beaten path to discuss how the organization has had difficulty with consumer awareness and how fostering education and supporting innovation will help us all rise. Get ready to level up your powder coater game.
Welcome to Roscoe's Powder Coater Podcast. I'm your co-host, Kim Scott, where we interview influencers and talk about trending topics so you can grow your powder coating biz. Today's topic and guest, I'm happy to have back for a second time. I can't believe it's been actually over a year that we have had the Executive Director of Powder Coating Institute, Kevin Coursin on the show. Kevin, welcome back to the show.
Oh, thanks for having me back. I enjoy your podcast.
Oh, you do? Thank you.
Yes.
So we've got a lot to catch up on. I think the last time you came on, I think it was over a year ago. We actually just started the podcast and we went over trends in the industry, or rather like fiscal trends, and how busy or slow the industry was having or handling the 2020 pandemic and stuff. So I know you'll be back. We don't quite have all of the figures in. So this will actually be talking about education, innovation, and the industry, the face of the industry, or some of the challenges that we're currently facing in the industry. Not necessarily how much money we're making or how the industry is doing, but some kind of other business and PR issues. And I think it's all kind of tied in. And we kind of chatted a little bit before we got started, but what prompted me to call you was in this latest issue of the Powder Coated Tough magazine, which is actually free. This is the 2022 Buyer's Guide. This just came out. And then prior to that was this other one, which I still have yet to read the article, but it's troubleshooting and powder coating. So you do talk about, these reoccurring problems or reoccurring topics in the industry from a top-down level and how to solve them. The Powder Coated Tough is free. You don't have to be a member to get it. I highly recommend you do. And we'll make sure to put a link in the description for you guys so that you can sign up just with an email address. So in this editor's or director's note, you talked about embracing change and innovation. And of course, we do like to hear that kind of topic. There's a lot of headroom for innovation on all and many levels, from new products to new processes to, getting the message out about powder coatings and how awesome they are. So that's happy to have you on the show about that. So let's talk about that. You're embracing the change. Do you think there's a lot of people that aren't?
I don't know if it's so much that people aren't, but a lot of times and I shouldn't say that they're forced into it, but if you have purchased something and you have capital equipment, you want to use it as long as you can before you have to replace it. That is always probably one of our difficulties that we've had in trying to get people to either convert over from liquid to powder, or people doing it. We have seen that there has been changes. We had let's say in the 2000s, we had a lot of people changing over, and they grabbed at the low-hanging fruit that was out there. Now we have some other, and there's, like I say, new technology out there for improvements in powder coating and using less powder and all the good things that go with it. But until they have a good need to it. So we're seeing a cycle changing. And I think some of that old equipment is now just plain old wore out. And now people have to replace it. So what do you have to look at? Well, let's see what's new then. And
right.
they're being amazed at what is out there for them.
Yeah. It is incredible. Of course, there's the DIYers like us where we're scouring the internet to find the hacks and tricks and tips and all of that to get to even start in the business. And then there's the big capital growers, which do have to drop a lot of money into, and maybe innovation isn't always on the forefront for them, but when it comes to equipment, maybe it is, I think there's a lot. I think you're going to see a lot. And the last time that you were on, we talked about how, right now we're looking at about 10 to 12 billion a year in sales. The industry is supposedly going to double. I see it. I see that. I didn't see that before. But in the last year and a half that we've done this podcast, I've interviewed covered trend topics from a number of people in our industry, not just in the liquid coatings and in powder coatings and anodizing and all of that. I've had them on the show. We've talked about some of the upcoming trends, and I see it much clearer now than ever before. So it is kind of it is shocking when you say that it can double. It has the potential to double, but there's a lot of headroom. There's a lot of headspace and a lot of obstacles in all of that to get to that level of doubling our industry. What do you see is the biggest obstacle? There's lots of obstacles.
Sometimes I don't know if there's just that huge elephant in the room, so to speak, or is a lot of little ones. Everybody's like yourself has to run a business, and I mean, I'm just like it too. Change is hard. I'm one of the old dinosaurs. Have seen a lot, been out there, and I keep seeing all this new stuff, and I go, wow, where did that come from? Yet it's been out there, and you just haven't been exposed to it.
Yeah.
I was talking with one of our members a couple of months ago at an event, and they brought up a point. They said, hey, when we first started putting powder on, it had to be 5 mils thick to get the proper coverage. Now it's down to 2.5, and some places going down to 1.5. There has been those kind of improvements, but is it one of those big splashy things that just all of a sudden, in your face and you go, holy cow? No, it's this gradual type thing. And, just like they say, you put the frog in a pot and turn it on and it won't jump out.
Right. Exactly.
You're just sitting in it all the time.
Yet, when you're on the inside of powder coating, and this is what I get, you can tell I'm getting excited already. When you're in the inside looking out, you're like, how is it that this industry isn't bigger than it is? It's basically 10% of the overall coatings market. Are we just suffering from a PR crisis here? Or is it just, like you're saying, it's not as shock and awe? Like, do we need to hire Kim Kardashian to PR the Powder Coating Institute?
Well, we've been talking. Do we have to find some influencers? But that's the next generation. I'm leaving that to someone else. But when you look at the overall market, though, there is we are 10% of the overall coatings market. But then you have to temper yourself, because in that coatings market is a liquid market for painting your walls and your outside of your house, which powder coating right now will never be able to do. You can do it in a factory and send boards pre-coated,
right.
But you can't recoat something in the field. So there is that, if you pare it all down, powder coating in the industrial market is much larger than just 10%. So, and that might be you gave me an idea here that I think for my end of the year report that we're going to be doing to get our updates, I'm going to see if I can get a breakout on that, because you bring up a real good point that from a PR standpoint, maybe we're not tooting our horn enough.
Here's a message from today's sponsor.
Ross Coat here from Maui Powder Works. We've been providing customers with high-end custom coatings for over 20 years. We love the powder coating business. Making auto parts, patio furniture, and stuff beautiful for our customers is the fun part. As you know, the hardest part of any job is getting parts prepped for finishing. At times, this means removing tough industrial OEM coatings, which can take hours, if not days, of chemical stripping and sandblasting. Our business was revolutionized when we discovered the great strippers from Benco Sales. Their customer service folks asked the right questions and recommended a stripper tailored for our needs. Give them a call today at 1-800-632-3626.
Get a free Benco stripper t-shirt when you mention Rosscoat.
Hello, exactly. Yes. I guess that's kind of what I try to hint at when I'm in those meetings with you guys. And yet, it is amazing because one of the best articles I ever read about, and I'll put the link in the description, but it was somebody that there was actually it was a show on TV. I never watched it, but it was like Girl Boss, I think was the name of the show. And in order to do the set, they had the standard looking, boring lateral file cabinets in her office, and somebody had the bright idea to powder coat them 3 different shades of purple, like a light purple, and everybody loved them on the show. Everybody was writing about them, and so somebody picked up a blog and did a blog post on that. And I think that what I took away, and I actually quote in my own blog about Maui Powder Works, is that once you realize what you can do with powders and powder coating, it opens up a whole new world for you. Because I have had so many addicted people come into my shop. They got their rims done, or maybe they had this little part in their office or in their home done. And then once they get that done and they see how beautiful it is, they look around and they start to see either what is already powder coated in their garage or their office or their new house or whatever. And then they want to look for new things to powder coat. Like, oh, well, that's metal. I can powder coat that now. So now I'm going to come back to Maui Powder Works. So it kind of becomes this viral thing. We have all of the elements from a media content marketer like myself. We have all of the elements to make powder coatings go viral. We have custom coaters creating new Instagram posts every day, because every day something new comes into their shop. We don't know what the color is going to be. It could be purple or black, or it could be orange or sparkly or multicolored or whatever. And that's also, so there's new stuff on Instagram all the time. And that's so much content. That's what we need. We need more content. We need to get more people interested in powder coatings, everyday people. Mm-hmm. That's always been the message here. But I think that what's even more exciting than that is custom coaters can go from powder coating linear architectural things like screens on resorts, exterior screens on resorts today. And then tomorrow they'll be working on a rim or an automotive project or a motorcycle project. That is the beauty and the scale that custom coaters and the capabilities that they have. Even if they have a small or medium-sized oven, they can do these they can adjust. They're highly adaptable people. And that is so viral and so, can capture a whole new audience because that's the kind of stuff they look for. I think some of the other things too is this thing that it's called the circular economy. Everybody's talking about it now, but what does it mean? And it really is, in essence, what custom coaters do. Now, they'll take somebody's restoration project, or they'll take somebody's new fabrication and they'll do magic with it, and they'll help their local economies. And that's where I think the message could be for powder coatings is, yeah, we know about the line coaters already. They're kind of boring and snoozy because it's all about margins. And yeah, they do a lot of parts and a lot of pieces that we use in everyday products. But maybe it's the custom coaters that we could be focusing on more, because that's where the excitement happens. That's where you get the customer that wants that crazy concoction of a, iridescent, this and that. I mean, I don't know. Something to think about for the Powder Coating Institute, to get that kind of viral Kim Kardashian thing going. The other thing is you had earlier the year, you had an educational focus in a Powder Coated Tough magazine. And yeah, we talked about it just before the show, how we've got this aging group of people. Who are we going to bring up? How are we going to bring them up? How are we going to educate them? And maybe some people, there's just too many people with chemistry degrees and there's nowhere to go with it. What was your final take on that article?
Well, I think there's in the, I guess, manufacturing industry as a whole, and it's probably more in the U.S. The whole last 20 years as the millennials all were coming to be. They were told, you have to go to college. That's the only path. And for some cases, I think that was a misdirection. Many people went to and got a degree. Was it a degree they were passionate about? Maybe not. Was it a degree that they could really find a job very quickly in? So they ended up with a lot of debt and struggling. And, we've seen that, where as if some good old traditional training programs were out there through technical colleges, teaching them skills, whether it's powder coating, welding, there's a lot of manufacturing things. There are some wages out there for good manufacturing help that I think if they would have been taught that, and we're hearing it more and more from guidance counselors and schools. We're being approached as an association on it. That's one of the things we're working on. How do we get out there with a training program, let's say to a technical college? How do we do it? Is it an online course? Does it has to be at a facility that has equipment?
Right.
There's all those things that we're trying to look at and get. In my surveys that I've been doing here the past year and a half, I've been asking, hey, what's your number one problems? What's keeping you up at night? Number one thing, hands on down, is hiring, finding talent. There's no question about it. Everybody is struggling with it. And, so we're all trying to figure out, how can we get people attracted to this, that this is a damn good industry to be in. You can make a good living. It'll support you and support your family. I've been involved in it almost 40 years in the finishing industry, and I love it. I find it interesting every day. But like you said before, we don't have a compassion, and it's just spreading the word for us. We got to show people that this is an exciting industry, and there's work and I'm not saying you can't do it, just sit around. No, you have to work, but you can find something and be passionate about it.
Yeah, I think that I believe that there actually are people already in the industry. It's just that maybe they don't have that could share that kind of information or that kind of education. Because how do you, when you have something that's got, grade D rust and, it's coming in for restoration, and you're going to have some outgassing, and, how do you, it's not just the new stuff that they could learn to powder coat. They really need to know it's really based in restoration first. I think educationally, because that's where the learning, actually the minutia learning, is how do you handle something that needs restoring? And that is the circular economy. They want to recycle. They They want you to, because we may not have the new metal or they want to limit chemicals. They want to limit materials. It's kind of scary at the same time when you think about that.
Well, we're seeing, both from, if you want to call it the millennial generation that now is they're starting to fluff their wings and leave home and start looking at things. They definitely view the world in a different fashion than I did, or I do at this time, just from my past history. But we are also seeing the corporations now that from on top, they are insisting on, for their whole processes, they have to start looking at how do they go and be a better steward, whether it's, call it being green, calling it being, they're just looking at all the processes. And it is now starting to come down. It's not just a price anymore. They have a mission that their purchasing agents are being told they have to buy. And that's where powder coating comes in and fits a really nice fit with them, because we can solve a lot of their problems and things that they want, and, to take it to the next step. And then, down the road, after that product is sold, if it needs to be recoated and refurbished and all that, yes, it can. Those parts are capable of being in that fashion.
Here's a message from today's sponsor.
Do you know chemical strippers from Benco Sales reduced our prep time by up to 80%? We chose Benco B17 and have been using it now for 5 years. We were surprised at how effortless it removed finishes from literally anything we put into it. Removal takes minutes, not hours. Several suppliers over the years have told us they have something as good as B17, but don't believe it. There's a reason the name B17 is universally applied for those claiming to have fast strippers. Buy it by name and available only by Benco Sales. B17 is the industry benchmark by which every other stripper is compared. Accept no substitute. Get started today by going to bencosales.com. BEMCO sales.com.
Say Rosscoat sent you for a free Benco t-shirt.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of upside. If you're a small coder now and you've got big goals, I think there's a lot of upside to where, someone that is starting today could, just learning powder coating could be huge in the next 10 years. It's just a matter of sticking with it and understanding the greater industry too. And that's why I started the podcast. Ross and I both started the podcast. We are innovators with a product that we're trying to get out to the world as well. And we're so not just physically removed from the greater United States, but we were so far removed from the greater industry, which is why we wanted to be part of the Powder Coating Institute. And we wanted to somehow stay in touch and learn more about our industry, and not just the history, but what's current events and what's happening in the future, so that we can make better decisions as business owners and point ourselves in the correct or right, just, better positioning or better direction. But I'd say knowing the trends or the greater trends in coatings market is going to be to everyone's benefit for sure, because I think there's a lot of change. And like you said, every decision people make is going to be based around the environment, and whether you believe climate change or not, or whatever, it is going to be directed towards that. And changing the model of the economy is with the Amazon effect and stuff like that. It's definitely food for thought, and knowing your place in all of that and where it's going to go for you or for your business, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, and that's where, with some of the innovation and changes, again, with the technology that slowly increments itself, just the usage of powder itself. And maybe for the powder coaters, it's the producers, maybe not as good because they don't sell as much. But again, it's where we're headed as an economy, as a society. We have to do our best to preserve what we have, and all that together forms something that's better, I think, in the long run.
I think so. Yeah, in the long run, for sure. For not just the planet, but for everyone. And that's what I get so excited about in terms of like powder coatings, when you're looking inside out and you're like, hello, we're over here. We've been here, for a very long time. We're not just, powder wet, and it's, I think the other thing too, just while we're on the topic is getting related industries, or, maybe having some kind of, and you and I kind of talked about this a while back, is how do I, as a custom coater, local custom coater, how do I get under the noses of these architects? How do I get under the noses of these contractors?
Yeah.
How do I, influence them, educate them, because they're the ones calling the shots, really. Right. Welders, they're kind of a funny group. They'll either embrace it because we make their stuff, they'll get it.
They call powder coaters funny. So,
Oh, do they? Do they? Yeah. I don't blame them. Because there are guys that we work with that dread taking their stuff to us because they're what I call purists, right? They feel like that aluminum or that stainless steel should be just in its natural form. Well, it's not for everyone, right? Some people want color in their life, right? And so they kind of have like this hang up about it. And yet there's others that are like, yeah, cover it up. It's bad. I'm still learning and stuff. So maybe there's something that we can do to work together to, I know that the architectural committee is working on that now, but that's sort of top level, but I'm almost thinking more ground level up, or, organic kind of outreach.
Yeah, we are trying with our architectural committee. We have formed and we have what's called the 3-part spec that an architect can use, and we have now one for powder coating. We have it on our website. We are now trying to actually, we are going to become, as PCI, a member of the Architect Association, and try and get the word out through them that this is available, and why they would want to consider it. And the architects as a whole, and my brother's an architect, and I've talked to him, and I said, hey, when you specify something, he goes, yeah, Kevin, and sometimes we just don't know what's out there. Right. And, we're taught to design. All they know is
what they learned in school.
Yeah. And, so getting that message out to those type of specifiers, that's on the architectural side. Same thing is true with manufacturers of equipment or parts. Many of them understand that powder coating is there. Some of them are just caught because they had a liquid system and the investment hasn't been, I don't want to say forced, but it will change as time goes on. They understand about it.
Yeah.
We've tried to find and get information to the consumer. I mean, years ago, and I want to say this was probably in the 90s, PCI put out ads through Home Depot and Walmart, and just trying to educate the consumer. Mm-hmm. But it is very difficult to do.
Yeah,
they just powder coating. What's that? Right. And they just can't fathom that could be a coating. Yeah. And
you mentioned it earlier too. Manufacturers who do powder coating for their own products, their in-house powder coating, have a hard time PRing it, right? They just, in the end, they just want a quality product that they can sell for X number of dollars to Walmart or Target or Home Depot or whatever. But the overlook there is, okay, beyond the durability of the product, that's all they care about, right? Mm-hmm. It's more about selling as many units as possible for the, for shelving or this or that. Even so, like, I've got this wall system that I actually bought from Home Depot, kind of like a cheapy lateral, like hanging system.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, all the hooks and everything are powder coated. I'm like, who's got this account? And, it's okay. You can see some kind of weld debris and stuff on there, but, hey, it's parts and it'll all get covered up anyways with something on there. But, it's too bad that it says that in the description when I bought it. So I'm like, okay, but it just kind of got overlooked. And I don't think people are actually looking for the words powder coating and then knowing what the meaning behind those words are.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I look for it. I go looking for appliances and I tell my wife, you can't look at that one. No, you can't look at that one.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think, but, regulation, the EU is certainly coming down hard on the rest of the world and shaking its finger at us and telling us we could be doing better for everyone and everything and stuff. And, will America learn that lesson? I don't know, but, I know it's trying and stuff. So, well, that's cool. Okay. So we do, how do you educate and who do you educate? Are you trying to get more people? Is it an educate, more specifically a problem of educating consumers, or is it more a problem of educating people, industry, or is it both?
Well, for us right now, it's been mostly on the people doing the application, the industry side of it, of how to do it proper, what does it take to do it, and all the aspects, like you said, making sure you get the right pretreatment down, or prior to putting the coating on to get to a durability level, and using the right powder coating for the right application. The consumer side, we've had a much more difficult side. We had our PCT mark that we wanted to put on things, but even that was tough trying to get people to understand what it was and, what does it mean?
What does it mean?
And because we're the one step removed, we're not going directly to the customer. So trying to get that message through things, and there's too many layers. I tried to call Walmart just to talk to a buyer, to talk about, hey, you should be specifying this. I couldn't get to anybody.
Right.
It's virtually impossible to get to that person that is, the one specifying and talking to the consumer why you should buy my product. You know enough to look for it. You looked and saw that part was powder coated, and you understood what it meant from a durability, and everything goes with it. That education side is very difficult, and maybe, as you mentioned before, having an influencer or something. And we have a strategic planning meeting in beginning of February. We're going to be talking about some items to the consumer side. What can we do? Right now, we don't know what the cost of that might be, but we just have to start having a discussion on it.
I think so, because even something like HGTV or something of that nature, where you can solve a problem in a show or something like that, because that's really where the rubber meets the road, so to speak. And because people don't know the practicality of it until they know the practicality of it, right?
Yeah.
And then, if you can get that mindset to switch from, because maybe it is easier to approach that user, the end user, to meet that demand, because we already know that demand is going to come. We have all of the elements that make up the industry. We might be falling short on people right now, but once that demand starts to come, employees will be more important. We will be paying them more. We will be that will come. And there will be people for that, and appreciating that. I think that's coming, and it's coming with this generation, this larger generation now. But you get that demand coming from the consumer side, and you will be able to meet it. It just needs to be that little kind of, that one little matchstick that kind of just throws that whole switch on, in turning it on.
Yeah.
And I did notice that, because we are going to talk about the upcoming custom coder forum and stuff. And I noticed that you had a little influencer in there, and which is awesome. But you did want to reply to that, so go ahead.
I was just going to say with the consumer side, there is so many different types of consumers. If someone is in the automotive market versus buying a trinket versus buying something for outdoors, so many different markets that people are looking at. It's a very diverse message that you're trying to get across to people.
It can be, yes. We've put out a couple of things on our blog just to kind of see, obviously our Roscoe blog is mostly about automotive, because that's where, and then Instagram too, is where you're seeing most of that viral stuff happening, most of that fan base, where you're actually following a custom coder. You may only get his rims done, your rims done by him once, but hey, you're planning on it. Pinterest is actually an underutilized, believe it or not, Kevin, is an underutilized platform, because when people go to spend money, they're using that visual search engine to plan out their car purchase, their upgrades to that, or aftermarket stuff. Of course, SEMA is always huge and big, and almost too big at some point. And then there's the threat that SEMA is facing with regulation and stuff like that. And that's kind of a scary one if you think about it. I would like to get a SEMA guy on here just to kind of talk about that, because it kind of scares me when you read about it. Mm-hmm. And what the federal government wants to do with that stuff. Where do you start? But I think, if you think about just the simple resident, whether, they're going to own a car, they're going to own a home. That's where you start. Mm-hmm. In the middle is this commercial level, where you have, commercial jobs coming through, or gates and railings and stuff. And those people will catch up, because ultimately, if you educated them in their home and in their car, then if they are a contractor or an architect or this or that, I also think, architects in general, and getting on that AAMA group is probably good, because whatever gets taught in the universities should be powder coatings. It seems like I'm shocked when I talk to an architect about how they don't know. And I'm like, well, what did you learn? What did you learn? Drawing a straight line? I don't know. They learn about RALs and ASA.
Yep.
That's about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe universities too might be helpful, but yeah. Well, that's cool. Well, let's talk about the fun stuff.
Hey, Powder Coating Nation, Kim Scott here. It's time to grow your business with us. The Powder Coating Near Me directory can get your powder coating shop the real exposure it needs to succeed when you list your job shop today. Join a list of top custom coaters who've listed their credentials to be discovered by the customers who are searching for powder coating every day. Head over to powdercoatingnearme.com, click Add a Coating Shop, and start creating your very own page for free. Yes, free. You can add your logo, name, address, phone number, map listing, social media links, photos, video, and more. When you submit your listing, we'll get notified and approve you right away. Now you can add all the categories you specialize in and even add your own tags. Get the SEO and valuable backlinks your company needs for authority and getting ranked. You can even use the link you create and share it to your favorite social media profiles to build legitimacy as a custom coder. What are you waiting for? Become part of the largest consumer search directory in powder coating in the world, all for free. Find and click the link in this podcast or go to powdercoatingnearme.com to get started growing your brand today.
Okay.
Let me pull up my, so we've got the big announcement just this week, this last week, and I can't believe it's here already. Can you see my screen, Kevin?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, so Powder Coating Week 2022 is actually happening in a few months. It's nice.
Yeah, we had a quick turnaround from the summer only because our delays from last year. So we've been working very hard to put this together. It's in a shortened time frame, but we're very excited about it. We think we have some excellent presentations, both for the Custom Coder Forum, which is going to be on March 7th. We do have our 101 workshop that we will be also offering at the same time. We've changed it this year to being a 3-day format rather than a 4-day. So that first evening, we are having our supplier tabletop exhibits for all the custom coders and the 101. And then the next 2 days are going to be a day and a half, really, of technical conferences. And we're covering a lot of things. We got a great keynote speaker, Chris Miller from Arkema and sustainability and what it means to the industry. So he's going to, sort of give us a big opening on it. And then we've got a lot of different sessions going on. One of them is on labor that we talked about before. What can you do about it? Trying to get some good ideas. Otherwise, it's the operational efficiencies as well as automation. A lot of different topics for people to learn what's new. And we always have our new technology session, which is about the only place that we allow any kind of I guess you want to call it promotional type thing from our suppliers. Mm-hmm. But we do have, I think, 6 or 7 different companies that are offering, and this has to be something new, talking about new technologies. It can't be something that's been on the market before. Right. So they have some, and there's a couple interesting ones that I've heard about. So I'm looking forward to sitting in on that and learning some new things that are coming out. So
yeah, I'm excited to learn some new stuff too. On the workshop, what kind of guys or girls, we have to include girls now. There's a lot of, and I'm telling you, I got news for you. I think girl powder coaters, at least the ones I follow on Instagram, are the bomb. Like they have some kind of, I don't know, they have some kind of a hidden talent in there that, allows them to see or be able to do things. They may, obviously it's heavy industrial work, but it is artistry in its core. Yeah. And
the 101 workshop that we're offering is our basic that we call it. It's to learn the basics, and we cover everything from what is powder, how do you make powder, through all the pretreatment chemistries that are out there, or shot blasting, what do you have to do to prepare, and then all the application equipment, the booths, the ovens, the conveyors, all that type of stuff. So it's a really good base for people to learn about it. Last year in July when we held it, over 50% of the people in the class, they did not have a powder coating system yet. I mean, it was, very different from, or like you said before, someone new coming into it and is looking to do something. The people that I talk to that are new into the systems after they come out of the class, I mean, other than I do hear that we fed them with a fire hose as far as information, but they get the book and they have everything they can take back. But they said, wow, I didn't understand some of this, from the very basic standpoint. And now, issues that they were having on things they were trying to do, now they understand why they were having an issue or what they have to do to correct it. So they walk away with something that's very useful immediately. So it's a well done, and it's taught by the industry experts. So they learn from the people that have been doing it for a while.
And what's the age range? Do you find a lot of young people, like 20s or 30s?
Yeah. In this past year, probably 50% of them were under 40. Now we will have some, I guess, older people that are getting closer to my age but they're more likely, I would call it the managers, or, we have some engineers that come in and said, hey, I was just moved into the power equipment department. I got to learn about it, that type of thing. So there are those that are coming in just because of taking a new job, taking a new position, and needing to know a little bit further about them.
Oh, wow. You have all these guys already signed up for the tabletop too.
Yep. So it's another place I call it the place to learn something new and also just network with the experts.
Networking. Yeah.
Bring your problem.
Right. Yeah. Or just meet someone, because sometimes these companies are so big that it's really hard to kind of find a contact, just if you do have a question, about your powder coating gun or the type of powder you're using or whatever. It's a great way to kind of just connect and try to find the right person to solve your problem.
Yep, sure. Absolutely. Yep, definitely.
Yeah. What else is down here? Okay, so click to register.
Yep.
And so you don't have to be a member of the Powder Coating Institute. You can come just as a
non-member.
Non-member, yeah.
Right.
And I'm actually kind of looking forward to the forum. I'm going to try to go myself. I am going. I wanted to go last year. It just didn't work out. We were shutting down again.
Yeah, I know.
Back in June or July when this thing was going on. And I was just like, and plus we had way too much going on here, but I was really kind of bummed out. And I did want to come, and I wanted to do a live podcast there and interview people and stuff like that. So I'm definitely tell Ann I'll be hitting her up here in the next.
We look forward to having you, because we think that'd be a great idea to get it out. And
I actually had people emailing me and asking me if I was going, because they were going to just drive down and meet me and meet us and just go, so it was kind of cool, but I was so bummed that it didn't happen. So we are making a plan.
Good. Well, probably right after the first of the year, we will be having a video on this event, but it was taken from the one last July, and asking people, first of all, what they were hoping to see, and then after it, what did they learn? So there will be a video that will be posted on the website, and we'll be getting snippets out onto some of the social media sites and LinkedIn and a few other things. But for anyone that's wondering what it's about, might be a great way to learn.
I think you should put that. That's why I wanted to come. So I could, because that's a kind of a way to kind of get sort of a temperature gauge on how well you guys are putting on this conference, and what could be done better and stuff like that. So,
and the other thing I will, because you talked about the younger people, we do have a group, and it is our young professionals portion of it. It's a committee, and we're doing it. And at the event, we do have a networking event on it's Tuesday night. And again, where we allow all the young professionals under 40 to sort of meet each other, and we talk about what they're trying to get accomplished. What do they need, and that type of thing. And it's every year we've grown that group, and when they get together, they're not quiet.
Right. I think there's a lot to talk about in powder coatings. I mean, we're certainly proving that here at the podcast. And some are just, it's good to talk even about unsolvable problems, even just to kind of get it out and just have further discussions about it. Not every problem can be solved. You'll always have to deal with this or that or whatever. But, there's certainly some passionate people out there.
Yeah, but like you said, is learning the person that you can call when you have an issue, in the different areas is enormous. I mean, that is so critical for getting a job done, especially when you get stuck on something. Yeah. And I tell people all the time, I said, hey, call me. I said, I know a lot about a little, but I know someone that knows a lot about the very detailed information you're looking for.
Hey guys, we never thought the Powder Coder podcast would take off as well as it has. The level of engagement and bringing custom coders together has been wonderful and worth every late night edit and weekend recording.
Whether it's product features, smart business strategies, or custom coder interviews, we are encouraged to continue to bring great content. That's why we're going to show you how you can help us just a little bit more by sponsoring the show for as little as $1, $5, or $10 per month.
Just go to rosscoat.com page and look for the Become a Patreon button in the upper right-hand corner of the page. Once you're there, you can scroll to learn more about our goals and mission, grow our community by bringing you new episodes and news each week.
With every sponsor level, you get something for yourself, too, to guarantee your success as a powder coder. We are so thankful for you and enjoying the content we bring you each week, and hope you show your support by becoming a sponsor. And level up your powder coder game. Yeah.
And
well said.
all it is just getting it networked out and finding that person.
Yeah.
We can get almost any problem solved.
I think that's what I love about this industry so much. And I said that in a past email blast, is that, as big as our industry is, it still seems like hometown kind of people that aren't, I'm sure there's plenty of egocentric people in the powder coating industry, as with any industry. But,
I'll give you a tip for the next issue coming out for Powder Coating Tough. And my message, I am talking about family, because we are talking about generational companies. And for me, PCI is a family. And all the people I have met, I have a lot of friends and that I truly call friends. And they can be competitors, but they're still my friend. And
I just find that these people, like when we've reached out for our, for discussion around how we're going to deliver our patina powder coating thing, and we're still working that out. And just everybody has just offered up genuine advice, genuine help. They want to see this innovation come to market. They want to help us get there. I'm blown away. It's very hometown, very honest and open people. And I love that, because that, I live in a small town, and that's the kind of people I have around me, so I do like that about powder coating and in our little niche industry in the greater scheme of things.
Yeah.
So this one is, I don't know what, let's see. This one is so cool. This is your home site, your website, Powder Coating Institute, or powdercoating.org. And this one, I just want to touch on this really quick, that I think this is awesome that you're doing this, that you're offering the free magazine in Spanish, or it's coming. It's in production.
First one will be coming out in January.
I think this is awesome. I just wanted to touch on it really quick and to let everyone know that it is going to be now. Is it going to be simultaneous to where, like, if this is in English, then the same thing will be in Spanish?
It'll be one of the issues, but delayed by a few months. So it'll first come out in the English edition, and then we will have it all translated over.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Today, everything we do on the podcast or the blog or whatever has to be transcribable into multiple languages. And when you start to see, people from all over the world, I've got people in India that are listening to the podcast. I've got people in Southeast Asia listening to the podcast and stuff. It's crazy. How many people, where we can kind of unite under this one industry, because their problems are the same problems we're having, right?
Absolutely.
They got problems with their guns. They got problems with their classroom or whatever, like, it's kind of funny, but it's funny how they solve their problems too. It's like, they have, because of their part of the world, they have access or not access to certain things, and they solve it a different way. So I like that kind of stuff, where how are they solving this problem locally,
Yep.
And so let's go back to the homepage. Oh yeah, the memberships. That's what we're going to talk about.
Yep.
Let's see, where is join today? So for as little as what, $625
for a custom coder, for the majority of them, it'll be $625. If you're a larger one, over 2 million in revenue, then it's $925. So it's not a large membership, but you do get a lot of things included that you're showing on the screen there. There are upgrades you can do, and that if you are planning on attending the different events that are out there, then the upgrades typically make sense then. So
and you get this awesome handbook. I think this is, every job shop should have this. You can buy it outright, but you do get this training manual, which is what you're using off of the at the 101 course. The webinars have been pretty good. Some of them are kind of still based for industrial line coders and stuff. It'd be cool to kind of see a little bit more custom coder stuff, but it's nice to get exposed to different people in the industry too.
Well, can I sign you up for one of those webinars then?
Sure.
Yeah. No, we are always looking for interesting ideas and abstracts, for something. So if you have a topic that you think would be interesting for all the other custom coders, definitely talk with me and we'll get you on the calendar.
Let me see. How do you get a mirror finish? I want a chrome finish on my rims. Do you have chrome powder coat? Yeah, let's do a webinar on that. But this is awesome here. You get actually access to the Tough Mark. This is awesome to use in terms of standardization on your website. You can use it on social media. It comes in several different formats. You can use it on a brochure. You can use it anywhere, any media that you publish, you can add this. And I do like your powder coated tough mark. I think it's important. I have it on the website. I think that's, if you can put it in a place where people can see it, then maybe they recognize what they're getting when they get it, You also have that other, now I'm thinking, I'm not going to say it right, but what's the group, the peer groups? That's
the peer groups, yes.
Peer groups, which we just couldn't pull it off this year. But it's CCIA, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's both PCI and CCI. We do it as a joint. And we did just get our fourth group started just at the end of this last year. So we now have 4 groups. We still could fit in a few more people in the existing groups. We will look later in the year trying to start maybe a 5th one. But so far, everybody really likes those groups because you can learn a lot with it, and they are all custom coders, so they're non-competing, all the other things, but you can talk with them and they'll give you the true honest feedback. As I always tell them, you'll hear the good, the bad, and the ugly. And sometimes hearing the ugly is what you really need to hear.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I think so. I mean, but because they're your peers, it's not coming off as like some kind of authority or something like that.
It's being helpful. I mean, they are trying to help solve a problem for you. Right.
Awesome.
Yep.
What else do we want to talk about? I think that was it.
Yeah, I think that's what we had on the list there.
Yeah. You're gonna, when you get those updates on the status of the industry and how we're doing in general, I'd love to have you on, even if it's just a quickie kind of podcast. It doesn't have to be as long as this one. And thanks so much, Kevin. Okay. You're always the yes man. You're the yes man. I'm like, yes, I'm coming on. I appreciate your help. I don't know why you're looking more tan than I am at this point, but please ignore my white my whiteness. I live in Maui and I I get sun when I go out to the car and get in the car.
Well, for me, living in Milwaukee area, I'm out all summer, and that's the only time I can golf. So that's the primary time I get mine.
You got your little sun lamp on your son.
Yeah,
There you go.
Exactly. Well, again, thank you for allowing me to come in and talk. I always love talking with you, and I am looking forward to hopefully seeing you at in Orlando. So
Ross is going skiing in February. He's not coming. This is my turn.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
I'm going to do the Orlando thing.
Okay.
All right. I'll talk to you later. Aloha, everyone. Thanks for coming and watching the show. Follow us on YouTube. The live show, or it's not a live show, but we will do a live show at some point, and getting a lot of followers there. So thank you very much. Of course, we're MauiPowderworks.com. You can go to rosscoat.com for the for the podcast. And thanks again for following us. Aloha.